everyone. In this class 8 chemistry video lesson, we are going to study about 3 atomic models. These are Thomson's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, and Bohr's atomic model. Firstly, we will study about the Thomson's atomic model. After the discovery of electrons and protons in an atom, the next challenge in front of scientists was to know about their arrangement inside the atom. J.J. Thomson was the first one to provide the structure of atom. Thomson proposed that an atom consists of a positively charged sphere that is made up of protons. All the electrons of the atom are embedded in this sphere. According to him, the positively and negatively charged particles, or in other words, the number of electrons and protons were equal, due to which there is no overall charge on an atom, means an atom is neutral. This model was also known as the watermelon or plum pudding model because of its similarity with these two. The seeds of the watermelon represents the electrons or the negatively charged particles, and the red mass represents the protons or positively charged sphere. Similarly, in a plum pudding, the raisins can be considered as electrons and the remaining portion can be considered as the positively charged sphere. But afterwards, with the discovery of the nucleus by Rutherford, Thomson's model was no longer valid. Rutherford performed an experiment called the alpha ray scattering experiment, which led to the discovery of nucleus, and then Rutherford proposed a new model of atom. Alpha particles are the particles which carry 2 units positive charge and have 4 units of mass. They resemble helium atom having 2 unit positive charge on it, which contains 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Rutherford took a very thin gold foil and bombarded it with fast-moving alpha particles from a radioactive source. He took polonium as the radioactive source. He placed a zinc sulfide screen to detect the deflections suffered by the alpha particles. In this experiment, Rutherford observed that most of the alpha particles passed straight through the gold foil without undergoing any deflection. Some of the alpha particles were deflected at small angles from their path, and nearly 1 in 10,000 means a very few alpha particles were deflected at large angles or bounced back. So the 3 observations of this experiment are that most of the alpha particles could pass undeflected through the gold foil. Some alpha particles were deflected slightly from their path, and a very few alpha particles were deflected by large angles or bounced back from their original path. As the alpha particles were passing through gold foil, and gold foil consists of gold atoms, therefore alpha particles must be passing through gold atoms. Therefore, Rutherford concluded that there is a large empty space in gold atoms, due to which most of alpha particles could pass undeflected through the gold foil. अगर कहीं पे खाली जगह होगी तभी तो वहां पे कोई चीज पास कर सकती है, और बहुत सारे अल्फा पार्टिकल्स एटम्स के बीच में से पास कर रहे थे. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि एटम में बहुत सारी स्पेस क्या है, एम्प्टी है. Then secondly, there were some particles which underwent small deflections. So it means there must be some positively charged body placed in the atom, because जो अल्फा पार्टिकल्स हैं वो पॉजिटिवली चार्ज्ड हैं, और पॉजिटिव चार्ज को कौन डिफ्लेक्ट कर सकता है, कोई ना कोई पॉजिटिव चार्ज ही डिफ्लेक्ट करेगा. So it means the central part of the atom is positively charged, due to which a very few alpha particles suffered small deflections. Then the final point, that as a very few alpha particles retraced their path, it means that the central part, which is positively charged, is a very heavy and dense body. And this positively charged heavy and dense body present in the atom was named as nucleus. Therefore, we can say that nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom on the whole. Nucleus is very heavy and is positively charged, and nucleus is very dense, hard and rigid. And hence it was Rutherford who discovered nucleus. Keeping this experiment in view, Rutherford tried to tell about the structure of atom in his model of atom called Rutherford's model of atom. According to this model, an atom consists of a dense, heavy, and positively charged central part called nucleus. This nucleus consists of neutrons and protons. The size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of atom. The electrons are present at very large distances from the nucleus, and there is a large vacant space between nucleus and electrons. The total positive charge on nucleus is equal to the total negative charge on all the electrons, so that the atom on the whole is electrically neutral. Then the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in circular paths, just like the planets are revolving around the sun in circular orbits. That's why these electrons are also called planetary electrons. And therefore, Rutherford's model of atoms is also called planetary model of atom. But this Rutherford's model of atom was rejected due to some drawbacks. This model could not explain the stability of an atom. Rutherford had suggested that negatively charged electrons revolve in circular orbits with great speed. A scientist, Maxwell, argued that according to radiation theory, charged particles moving with great speed in circular orbits emit energy in the form of radiations. And since electrons are also moving at high speed in circular orbits around the nucleus, they must release energy continuously in the form of radiations. And as a result of reduced energy, the electrons must come closer and closer to the nucleus and ultimately fall into the nucleus, taking a spiral path. As a result, the atom should collapse. But this does not actually happen, and the atom is stable. So Rutherford was not able to provide a suitable explanation for this. That's why his model was rejected. Then Niels Bohr modified Rutherford's atomic model in order to explain the stability of the atom. He proposed a 3D model. Bohr said that electrons do revolve around the nucleus, but their energy remains fixed. He explained that the energy of electrons remains fixed because they are restricted to some fixed orbits. Each of these orbits is at a fixed distance from the nucleus and is associated with a fixed amount of energy. Even though the electrons are moving at high speed around the nucleus of atom, they do not lose energy. The electrons revolve around the nucleus in fixed orbits, and each orbit has a different radius and definite amount of energy. Therefore, electrons in an atom are moving, but the energy of electrons remains stationary. Means the energy of electrons does not change in a fixed orbit. Let us study some main points of Bohr's model of an atom. Number 1 is that each atom consists of a dense, heavy, and positively charged nucleus containing protons and neutrons. This nucleus is present at the center of atom. The negatively charged electrons are revolving around the nucleus in fixed circular paths. These fixed circular paths are called orbits or energy levels or shells. There are equal number of electrons and protons in an atom. That is why an atom is electrically neutral. The energy shells are represented as K, L, M, N, O, and so on, or numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. This numbering or naming of the orbits starts from the nucleus side. The energies of the shells go on increasing as the distance between the shells from nucleus increases. Therefore, K shell has least energy, L shell has more energy than K shell, M shell has still more energy, and so on. Each shell can hold a fixed number of electrons. The maximum number of electrons that can be present in any shell is 2n square, where n is the number of shell. For example, if we want to know the maximum number of electrons that can be present in first shell, then we will put n is equal to 1 in formula 2n square. And 2 multiplied by square of 1 is equal to 2. So it means that first shell can accommodate maximum 2 electrons. Similarly, for L shell, that is second shell, n is equal to 2. So 2 multiplied by square of 2 is equal to 8. Therefore, L shell can accommodate maximum 8 electrons. Like this, we can calculate the maximum number of electrons in any shell of the atom. There is no change in the energy of an electron so long as it revolves in a particular orbit. The energy of an electron changes as it changes the energy shell. An electron releases energy when it jumps from high energy shell to low energy shell. And an electron gains energy on jumping from lower energy shell to higher energy shell. For example, we know that M shell has higher energy than L shell. So if an electron jumps from M to L shell, then it releases energy. And if it jumps from L to M shell, then it gains energy. So now it is clear that an atom is made up of two main parts, that is nucleus and extranuclear part. The nucleus is the central and heavy part of the atom which contains neutrons and protons. As neutrons are neutral and protons are positively charged, so the overall charge on nucleus is positive charge. The extranuclear part consists of electrons which revolve around the nucleus in fixed circular paths called orbits or energy shells.